It would be an understatement if I said my life has been a unique and tough journey. It just simply wouldn't do it justice. It took me so long to start overcoming my fears and to get over the obstacles that I needed to get over to achieve my goals. I needed a lot of help along the way too, and I'm very lucky and fortunate that my family had the resources to afford the help. Anxiety disorder and OCD were trying to hold me back. I'll tell you how it all started. It all happened at home. One night I wasn't having the best night inside my head. I looked fine on the outside. There was nothing wrong with me. I wasn't sick nor vomiting, but I was a mess inside my head where nobody could see it. I felt really bad and anxious outside in the garage when I was moving some buckets. And the next thought that popped into my head was maybe if I go touch the buckets again, that will make me feel better. Not realizing at the time that this was the start of my obsessive compulsive disorder, more commonly known as OCD. So I went back to the buckets and I touched them. And it felt great. It felt as if a huge weight been lifted off my shoulders. My anxiety just went right away. I wish I had known that I was sacrificing long-term stability for short-term comfort. Skipping ahead a couple years, I still had anxiety, but I still didn't realize that it was an actual disorder that could be diagnosed. It started getting pretty bad to the point where it was interfering with my workout schedule and trying to dictate when I could pick things up in life. Literally. For example, I would be at high school. This was around the 9th grade, by the way. I was so worried about overtraining my muscles that when class ended, I obviously had to pick up my heavy book bag with all my textbooks in it. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem for a very well-built freshman like me, but my OCD had me so obsessed and anxious about the concept of overtraining my muscles. So I had to swing the book bag up on my back using solely momentum. Looking back on it, I probably looked like the biggest idiot in the world, but it made sense to me. So my parents and I didn't want to deal with it anymore. Anyone that has an anxiety disorder or any mental disorder knows that it doesn't just affect the person that is diagnosed. It affects everyone that cares and loves that person. So we decided I should go see a therapist. I tried out the therapist for a while, and he didn't really work for me. Therapy wasn't helping, so I tried out multiple therapists with no success, all the way to my junior year. Finally, I had this therapist that was helping me a little bit more than the others. My therapy got more and more intense from therapist to therapist because my family and I were realizing the normal average therapy wasn't going to cut it. He helped me out for a while, but my anxiety was still getting worse. I was so anxious in the morning about getting out of bed and going to school because if I knew I moved a muscle, I would want to move it 10 more times. My family and I knew I needed more help than what I was getting, so we looked into the 60 to 90 day residential treatment center called Mountain Valley Treatment Center. This was a huge decision. I had never lived away from home before, and I really didn't want to go with all my heart. I had a girlfriend back home. I didn't want to leave my friends, dogs, and my parents, but we ended up choosing to send me there, and I'm so happy we did. On a normal day at Mountain Valley, you woke up at around 8 on weekdays and did different activities throughout the day with your group. There were 4 color-coded groups: blue, yellow, green, and red, and I was blue. The week was set up as a school week with different activities on different days, but the week schedule stayed the same. I think this was to keep everyone used to the school schedule. The activities ranged from equine therapy to life skills modules, and there were a few 1-hour academic blocks on a few of the days, just another thing to keep everyone rolling. On weekends, we got to sleep in to around 10 a.m. I loved it there so much because I had never felt so safe than when I was there. This place was so amazing. I met so many amazing people who are now my lifelong friends and more. It's sad that I barely get to see them now because they're all over the country, but it's a huge comfort to know I always have them. One of the guys who worked there is like the uncle I never had. Owned an organic farm, which we would go to all the time, which was awesome because I love cows so much. I had therapy 5 days a week there, group and individual, which was just the intensity I needed at that point in my life to kickstart getting a hold of my anxiety and OCD. My new therapist at Mountain Valley was the first one that worked very well for me. This could be for many reasons, but I think it was because she was my first female therapist. I prefer talking to females over males about my feelings usually, and I opened up much more and got a lot more work done. I feel like a lot of the time females are much more understanding. I met an amazing girl there, and I fell in love with her. We got split up and things fell apart, but I'm so happy I got to be with her the time I was. I haven't got to talk to her much since the last time she slept over at my house, and I really hope and pray to God she's doing well with her anxiety and everything. I stayed at Mountain Valley for 102 days, and the next step I thought was to come home and go back to public school. Little did I know that wasn't the right route for me. Next, I was sent to a therapeutic boarding school called Short Ridge Academy. That experience was very similar to my experience at my treatment center, with the fact that there were many similar activities we did. I made many awesome lifelong friends, and it went very quick the 11 months I was there. Now I'm here at SVC. What I want to get out of this place is another great experience and many more great friends for life. I plan on continuing my lifestyle in bodybuilding and the pursuit of a classic physique. I've been training for a long time, and it's very important in my life. I also want to continue training and motivating people, and in the future, I can't wait to be able to work with adolescents with anxiety and other depressions and mental disorders alike in the fitness aspect and show them how much it has helped me. It is also important to me to eventually start a family. It is important to me to get huge in the bodybuilding and fitness world so I can motivate others to reach their fitness goals. I also want to create my own brand of sports apparel. But above all, I have to continue to work on overcoming my anxiety and OCD. It will be a lifelong journey for sure, but how are you going to be able to enjoy life if you're anxious all the time? The answer is you can't. I believe that God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. So if you are going through something really hard, just remember that. We will all continue to take our lives back from hardships. I always have to remember that long-term stability and success is much more important than short-term comfort, even though it's hard to realize that in the moment, but it is. One of the things I want to do is to send that message to the rest of the world, because you will have a lot more joy in the future if you get through the hardships early.